All right, so just getting into the Rocket Mortgage Classic final thoughts and round one preview video, touching on first round leader bets, some showdown picks, ownership leverage, basically everything you need to know to close out your week in PGA DFS and fantasy golf. Let's go ahead and get into it. So real quick, we're just going to start out with some prize picks and underdog talk here. Looking at it right now, I find it interesting that underdog is really favoring these guys like Sungjae Im and Justin Thomas, who kind of found their form last week. They're really favoring them at 68 stroke. And I bring that up in that way because if we look at the rest of the strokes props that we are getting, someone like Collin Morikawa, who's also been kind of struggling, and like Tony Finau, who's also kind of been struggling as well recently, they're all giving them 68 for the stroke total. For them to beat that prop, for them to get over that, they'd have to shoot 5 under par. The scoring average is about minus 1.5 strokes per round. Okay, we can see it right here, 70.24. The par is 72. Okay, so it is kind of crazy. I don't really see all those golfers finishing 5 under par. Now, Tony Finau has come out and said that he believes it's going to be a birdie fest, that the winning score is going to be around 30 under par. It's tough to believe that. Now, I know the greens are soft and whatnot, and it could, but I think a majority of the field is going to be shooting about what we have seen. Maybe it gets to 2 under par. Maybe the cut gets to -4, but it's very, very rare for us to see the cut get to -4. And obviously the cut is kind of a good indication of the scoring average. So it's very rare to see. And I just kind of want to make that distinction. Now, if it does play easier, then yeah, we could bet a lot of these, maybe on underdog here. Tom Hoge, we could bet under. That's 3 under par. Brian Harman, which is actually one of the better prize picks bets that we have for under. We could bet under there. That's 3 under par again. Substraka, I don't exactly love, but you could bet under there. I kind of like Adam Hadwin, but I don't like that the data is telling us to bet the over there. This is just my long way of saying that it's the players are saying one thing and the data that's coming in is kind of saying the other thing, the event average and the props that we are getting. Okay, the props are saying no, it's going to play like it has the past 4 years, like we have seen. And I more or less agree with that. But I don't mind the idea of like betting the over for Sungjae Im on underdog. I think that would be a great prop bet there. Okay. Let's look at some other props that we are getting. And I just want to sort by total edge. So Prizepicks edge, where we're getting the best edge, Collin Morikawa for over. He has been someone that has been struggling. Don't get me wrong. Like Tony Finau, another example, great play. 4th best pick in the 9 and 5 mile. Collin Morikawa, 3rd best pick in the 9 and 5 mile. Both of them are great specialists. Both of them are great stat fits. You could easily play those golfers if you want to. Don't mind them as picks. Now let's just go ahead and flip this around. Like, I don't know if I really love these birdie or better matchup ones, but certainly there seems to be something there. And I do find this interesting here for like birdie or better. We're getting some prop line differences there as well. So let's take a peek at those total, like birdie or better. I don't know. It's tough to imagine a third of the holes, Tony Finau being able to score 6 birdies. And let's just say he does that. I don't hate the idea of him as like a first round leader pick. It's kind of a weird way of hedging because yes, if Tony Finau is putting the ball well, he can easily be in contention for the first round lead, right? If they have his over and under prize picks, as I said, at 5.5 birdies, that's pretty much meaning that he's making putts. If he's making putts, he could easily have the first round lead. Okay, so just some decent props out there. Let's just sort by underdog edge, and then I'll be finishing up here. So yes, Collin Morikawa again, you could roll with that. And then Keegan Bradley, maybe under, if you guys want to roll with that. He is coming in off of victory. But let's go ahead and get into round one showdown. So let's just start out on the showdown tab. We're going to get into, let's just take a look at season round rank. Who are the best golfers in that regard? And so just looking at it, we got Ricky, Finau, Homa, Collin Morikawa. We also have Sean O'Haire as well, just as an FYI, one of the better round one scorers. Let's take a peek at showdown rank. So this is basically just a priority list. Who should we be prioritizing in round one? Okay. And just as an FYI, this is kind of used as a tool during the tournament. We're going to go to the betting page here in a second. That's going to be for first round leader, but it correlates together. So we got Collin Morikawa, Tony Finau, Ludwig. A lot of people love Ludwig here. I don't hate him, I guess, as a first round leader pick. If you want to bet him, you can. Jaeger is an interesting option because I could see him having the first round lead. I could also see him missing the cut. That, like, he played well at this tournament last year. He has been playing well this season. He's had 3 straight tournaments now, or 3 out of his past 4 tournaments now, in which he has almost missed the cut. We can see that. Just really not good there. But then prior to that, have been playing well. So one of the two are going to happen, right? But let's just sort by tee time as well. Typically, and we haven't seen this, it's weird. All of our simple betting rules that we've had in place over the past 4 years, they haven't exactly been hitting. And I blame the elevated field events. I do. That's the one thing. It's been weird. But let's look at it. Early tee time. So we go Morikawa, Finau, Jaeger, Ludwig, if you guys want to, Benny Ann, Ricky, Aaron Rai, Tom Hoagie. Those are probably going to be the players we are building our core around. And if we need to find some potential value, I don't really like Hogard. You could go Spawn. I do think Sean O'Hare is going to be someone we're looking at in terms of round one showdown. We got Wu then, Pendrith, Lashley's all right. Like, we got some okay options. And then let's just take a peek at projected fantasy points for round one. Basically the exact same plays. Okay, so let's just echo that by going to the betting page. We're going to go by bet type. Okay, we're going to check on first round leader picks. Okay, so what I want to do is I just want to take a peek at the early tee times, right? And then we're just going to take a peek at rank as well. We can sort by rank. Then we can just see which players have the best odds. And so typically what I like to do is just bet on the top 5% of the field to have the first round lead. Now, this is a strategy that last year was dominant. The start of the season this year, pretty dominant. Up until last week, this had the first round lead or the runner up by doing this strategy. Okay, so it is a pretty productive strategy. It's just, how do you guys want to go about using it? Maybe top 10, top 5. I like the top 5 bets on BetMGM because they pay out really well. They pay out full. So that's the route that you can go. Just looking at, though, we have some amazing odds for these golfers. Kyle Morikawa, guys, 30-1 on William Hill. 30-1 on FanDuel. That is phenomenal. Ludwig, if you are someone that is outright betting him, which is very optional, I'll get into the ownership leverage here in a second. Kind of crazy. Bet him first round lead, please. Like, that would be the route that you would want to go. We got Jaeger popping up in there, Benny Ann, Ricky Fowler, Aaron Wright, and Tom Kim. Like, I want to bet those players. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, I'm going to 8. Setting it to 8. Maybe not. I don't really love Ludwig, and maybe you're worried about Tony Finau as well. But no, I really think that that's going to be a good strategy there. And then maybe potentially Aaron or Sean O'Hare. I don't hate that. Like, you could roll with that as well. Let's go ahead and take a peek at my outright bets. So for those of you that don't know, I've been doing a members write-up for the past 4 years, putting in all the solid DFS advice, really big edge. And that's honestly my struggle. It's a mental struggle, really, because like, I want to help out the most people as possible. And at the same time, it's PGA DFS. It's a small market. And so I don't want to be given information for free that's going to hurt majority of the people that really value my information, right? That's how you lose an edge. And honestly, that's how like the Showdown edge has been reduced. I've seen a lot more people come into the Showdown content category, I guess, in terms of content, which some days that really gives us a big edge. But people have learned how to play that. When I started giving out the content and built my tool around that, it was basically run the lineup optimizer cash. It was as simple as that. Now, you are still going to profit if you do that week in and week out. Once again, I'll show that on the lineup builder section. But that's the tough part, guys, is that it is PGA DFS. We are playing against each other. Whereas like Prizepicks, I'm perfectly happy to give out information that will help everyone succeed. It's a weird balance and it's a mental struggle. It really is. We're looking at my outright bets this week. Okay, we got Ricky Fowler, Hideki, Austin, Kevin Yu, Tom Kim, Aaron Wright, and Benny Ann. The reason I'm rolling with that is because this has been somewhat more of a predictable tournament in terms of outright bets. Okay, I know Cameron Davis got lucky and won 2 years ago. I've touched on this a bunch. Still very tilting. One of the most tilting moments. It's like that chip and eagle to beat Troy Merritt 101 outright, and then Joaquin Niemann as well, who's a 22-1 outright for us that week. And then the Shane Lowry bunker shot on 17, the par 3 that went into the water. Just a few shots that live rent-free in my head. But been on the runner-up. 5 of the runner-ups are the past 2 years. Okay, Nate Lashley, the year he won, I was talking up on my live streams and videos once he was added to the field. So I'm not saying I'm going to get a winner, but if you guys want to bet these all to top 20, I'd be perfectly fine with that. I think that's a decent route to go. Okay, if you want to find the best outright odds, once again, that's going to be available here. Just bet type outright bets. This is for 9 to 5 members only, $10 a month. Best value out there, and we can just find the best average odds that we are getting out there for that. And what I find crazy, just as an FYI, 7% is the highest likelihood Vegas is giving for someone to win. Kind of crazy in that regard. Now let's go and take a peek at the ownership leverage report. Guys, I love this tool. Full disclosure, I do. It's awesome. The amount of times where I'll just make an ownership leverage build, and it's one of the best ones out there, is kind of amazing. And I'm just surprised more people haven't been taking advantage of this. I know there's a good number of 9 to 5 members in the Discord chat that do this each week and see success. And it's not something that's going to work every week, but this week it does seem to be a week in which ownership leverage could be key. I mean, look at the players that are coming in over-owned. Cameron Davis, and like they're all actually getting valued as players that are over-owned in terms of how they're projected to play as well. Extremely interesting. So I mentioned Ludwig. It is crazy. Okay, we have a bunch of hit or miss plays this week. Let's just be honest about it. JJ Spawn, very much a hit or miss play. Like, sure, he could bring it and finish top 10. Sure, Ludwig could as well, but look at the price on Ludwig. It's crazy. People are valuing him as a top 10 finisher. Let's just take a peek at those golfers real quick. Like, he's not a terrible play. Let's get that right. But people have some sort of FOMO. We see this all the time. And I believe like Garrick Higo, I think it was the AT&T Byron Nelson, maybe he like won and then was just terrible after that. That could happen here in all honesty, but like we have seen 2 mediocre starts and that's really it from him. Like, just not an ideal play. And people are paying 8.7 for him. Like, that is wild to me. And so if we look at this, like, we can see other players right around him that are not only better leverage plays, but are also just kind of better plays as well. You go Tom Hoge. I don't love Tom Hoge. You go Tom Hoge though. You could pay up for Keegan, a slightly more expensive Keegan, $500 more, or you could just pay down for something like Aaron Rye. Like, just a lot of interesting pivots there to a chalky Ludwig. Nate Lashley, I don't mind. Austin, I don't mind. I am still rostering them. I do like the fact that Austin is pulling in as no moves needed. Like, if you're on him, that's fine. But we have a lot of players coming in over own. And then just looking at the under own, Adam Hadwin, amazing. Should be a safe play. Has played well at this track in the past. Extremely interested in that regard. Keegan Bradley, yes, he's coming in off of a victory. If it wasn't for that, I would be outright betting him this week. Colin Morikawa, Tony Finau. I get why everyone's going to Ricky Fowler. I'm going to Ricky Fowler. It's the correct play. Hideki as well is the correct play. But because of that, we are getting 2 players that no one would be surprised to see win in Colin Morikawa and Tony Finau. We're getting the top staff it and this top specialist, Colin Morikawa, at 16% owned, only being valued as a top 10 finisher. That's some pretty good value right there. Max Homa, same thing. Then we got Jaeger, Rogers, Aaron Rye could easily win, and he's coming in under 10%. I like that. I like that a lot. All right. So now let's just go ahead and take a peek at the lineup builder. No need to get into the value reports. I touch on a bunch of values all the time. All right, so I just want to touch on round 1 showdown real quick first. And so really what you can do, we do have to give some players a bump. And so Sean O'Hare is going to be one of those players that I want to give a bump, a good round 1 scorer. He could have a good day. Like, I don't mind that. And then I'm going to bump up Colin Morikawa slightly as well. He's already being valued as pretty much the best play, but that's it. We have to give the lineup builder 2 data points to start. And now all I'm going to do is for round 1 showdown, and this is what I've done. Had a GPP win 2 weeks ago now. 3 unique players, 35% max exposure, and just run it. Like, let the data do the work for you. Generate, and then this should be a profitable approach throughout the week. It might not be round to round, and it has been throughout the season thus far. Just click download and then upload that lineup to DraftKings. Now let's just go ahead and take a peek at the full slate. So I rarely like to do this as well, but when we're talking about this week where we are seeing a ton of players coming in a little bit over owned, I actually don't mind the idea of setting the max total exposure to 90%. I don't mind the idea. I kind of like that idea a decent amount. But really the only thing I might be adding in here is maybe adding in some sort of validation for the player groups. And I might just I want at least, I don't know, probably 3 of these players. And so it'd be like Ricky, Morikawa, Hideki. I like that. And go lower, probably Adam Hadwin, probably Benny Ann. This is something where I refer back to my my player pool. So we could begin on those players, right? Kevin Yu, definitely like. Aaron Rye, definitely like. So want to be on those players. Austin Eckrak, want to be on him. And so this is kind of a strategy where when you are on, when you have a good week, it's going to really hit. And some weeks you might not be on. Some weeks it might not be the best, but for the most part it will. So I just save that. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing. 3 unique players, maybe. I don't even know if I need to do that. We'll do 40% max exposure. Generate. And that's kind of just what we're looking at. I know the day has been pulling in a lot of Hogard and also Seb Straka. So what I might do is go to players, just see how high end they're coming on. Yeah, I don't like that for Straka. I don't like that for Hogard. And then Thomas Dietrich as well. I want to bump those players' projections down, and probably Adam Schenk as well. Don't need to be on him that much this week, although I don't mind him. So what I'm going to do, just going to go to show usage, drop that down. They're all coming in 40%. So let's just go to those players I don't want to be on that much. We'll do 5 for Straka. We'll do Hogard 5%. Dietrich 5%. Like, I'm fine with these plays. I don't need to be on them that much. I'd rather go some other routes. And so now we're sitting pretty. Let's generate that again. We should be pulling in a little bit better. And so all I went ahead and added in there was 3 unique players, 40% max exposure as well. And then we kind of get a player pool that I'm pretty comfortable with. Maybe too much Sargent. That's probably about it. I'd probably go down from him a little bit. But for the most part, getting the lineup builder the way I would like it to. Okay, so not looking too bad there. But that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Give that like and subscribe. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.